Welcome to Cardinal Glass Industries. At Cardinal Glass, we lead the industry in the development, design, and fabrication of glass products for windows and doors. The Cardinal team of more than 6,500 employees nationwide is proud of the superior quality glass products that we produce. Our focus on the research and development of new products allows us to turn fresh ideas into useful glass products for homeowners in North America and overseas. While our commitment to superior customer service keeps us competitive in the marketplace, here at Cardinal Glass, we are experts in the automated and manual handling of flat glass of all types. Even if you have previous experience in manufacturing, it is unlikely that you have handled glass in any quantity before now. Glass has many unique properties that dictate how it can be handled, cut, stored, and transported. One of the most important aspects of your education as a new employee will be your training in all aspects of glass handling. Most of your glass handling training will occur on the job under the direction of your leader and supervisor. We have, however, created this video in order to give you an overview of the types of glass we handle and some of the unique characteristics of each type. Following the guidelines in this video will help ensure your safety, the quality of our product, and reduce waste in the form of rejected or damaged glass. We know you're eager to get started, so let's talk glass handling. First, we are going to talk about some of the properties of the types of glass we handle here. Glass is a mixture of mostly silica, soda ash, and lime with a few other trace chemicals. It may be useful to think of glass as a transparent rock, which is to say that it is very heavy. At the same time though, it can also be quite fragile. There are 4 different types of glass that we handle at this plant: annealed glass, heat-strengthened glass, tempered glass, and laminated glass. Pound for pound, we handle more annealed glass at our site than any other type. The edge of an annealed piece of glass is usually very sharp. Annealed glass is the most fragile type of glass and it is easily broken. When annealed glass breaks, it breaks into large, jagged pieces called shards. Shards can range in size from minute to very large. Remember that every edge of every piece is very sharp. The second type of glass that we utilize is heat-strengthened glass. It is twice as strong and has a similar breaking pattern to annealed glass. The third type of glass that we handle is tempered glass. Tempered glass is annealed glass that has had the edges sanded and then been heat treated and quickly cooled to strengthen it. Tempered glass is many times stronger on its face than annealed glass. On the edges though, it is still fragile. When tempered glass breaks, it doesn't break into shards. Instead, it breaks into fragments of glass. The fragments don't create a significant cut hazard compared to shards because of the original sheet's strength. Tempered glass is often referred to as safety glass. You may be familiar with safety glass because of its widespread use in the side windows of automobiles. The fourth type of glass handled at our plant is laminated glass. The laminated glass at our plant is utilized to make windows that are used in storm, security, and soundproofing applications. From a distance, laminated glass looks like the other 2 types. Up close, laminated glass looks like 2 or 3 pieces of glass stacked on top of one another. This is because laminated glass is 2 pieces of glass sandwiching a layer of plastic. When laminated glass is broken, the annealed glass fragments into shards. But the plastic holds the shards together, reducing the potential for cuts from flying or loose glass. While the shards are held in place, they are still very sharp, as are the edges of the original sheet. For this reason, the same personal protective equipment that is required for handling annealed glass at our site is required for handling laminated glass. Laminated glass is cut in a complex, multi-step process. For this reason, only specially trained employees cut laminated glass at our site. Each of the 4 types of glass that we handle have their own unique properties. However, some important considerations about handling them are universal. The best way to protect yourself is to adopt good glass handling practices. So we will give you the 3 most important rules for handling glass.
Rule number 1 is, make sure you are using the right personal protective equipment for the type of glass you are handling. Personal protective equipment, or PPE as it is commonly called, comes in many forms. When handling glass, you will be wearing several types of PPE to protect you from being cut. Protection for your feet, legs, hands, wrists, upper body, head, and eyes are all required for handling annealed glass. Workstations in which glass is broken frequently require some form of hearing protection whenever working in those areas. Other situations may require additional protection. If you must carry annealed glass above the level of your shoulders, for instance, additional PPE may be required to protect your head and face from the hazard posed with the piece breaking into shards. If you are ever unsure about what PPE is required to handle any type of glass, or unsure how to wear it properly, ask your leader or supervisor, as your safety is their constant goal. If any part of your PPE develops a hole or other failure, see your supervisor or the safety manager for a replacement. Cardinal will provide all the PPE you need to handle glass safely. The second rule of glass handling is never use any more force than you have to move or break glass. If you are applying force to the glass, you are risking a cut through your PPE. All of the PPE that you will be wearing is highly cut resistant. None of the PPE you will be wearing is glass proof, however. A razor sharp piece of annealed glass applied with enough force can cut through your PPE. Note, also, that the point of a shard can puncture your PPE if enough force is applied. To ensure you don't have to exert too much force to move the glass, special equipment is used. In many places where you'll need to move glass with your hands, the glass will be on a special table. That allows even very large sheets of glass weighing hundreds of pounds to be moved with very little force, due to something similar to an air hockey table. When glass needs to be broken, do not use your body to apply force. Glass breaks in unpredictable ways. The glass can fragment in a way that will pierce your PPE. Never throw glass. Never place a part of your body in the path of a piece of glass being moved by a conveyor or other piece of equipment, as the moving glass has a lot of momentum. The third rule of glass handling is do not touch edges of the glass any more than you have to. Never drag your hand along the edge of the piece of glass. Never drag the edge of a piece of glass anywhere on your body. Never let a piece of glass slide through your hands. Never put yourself in a position where you might come into contact with the edge of a glass being moved by a conveyor or a cutting table. In some situations, you'll be able to move it by touching the bottom of the glass. The only part of your body that should be exposed to the glass is your hands. Don't ever rest glass on any other part of your body. Although tempered glass has sanded edges that aren't as sharp as the edges on annealed glass, they can still be sharp enough to cut you. Be aware that a glitch in the equipment or tempering process itself can produce tempered glass with edges as sharp as annealed glass. For this reason, you should always be cautious and assume the glass can cut you. Always follow the 3 rules of glass handling. The glass you are handling is not the only situation where you have to worry about contact. In many places in our plant, large sheets of glass are stored upright in packs weighing 4,000 to 10,000 pounds. Occasionally, damage to these packs of glass occurs during shipment. When this happens, runners can occur which can cause the sheets of glass to break into pieces and slip out of the sides of these packs. Be aware of this hazard when walking near or working around these packs. Working around glass without wearing the proper PPE is not acceptable, and it is important whenever walking or working near unprotected glass that you always be aware of your position to avoid contact with the edges.
So we've told you the 3 most important rules for glass handling. Wear all of the appropriate PPE, use as little force as necessary, and have as little contact with the edge of the glass as possible. Other aspects of glass handling are important to bear in mind, such as never attempt to catch falling glass. When handling glass, always be aware of the positions of other employees to avoid unnecessary collisions, product damage, or glass contact. Keep your body square to the glass. When handling glass, do not lift it any higher than is necessary, as this increases the risk to you if the glass were to break. Do not throw glass scrap or trim. Glass on the floor is a special hazard, particularly on a smooth concrete floor such as ours. The glass itself is a slip hazard. It can cause a nasty fall if you were to step on it. Collect glass on the floor and discard it as soon as possible. Never step or walk on a pile of glass on the floor. A small shard oriented vertically in the pile can go through the sole of your safety shoes, causing a nasty puncture. If you put glass on the floor, clean it up as soon as possible. Do not leave the area with glass still on the floor, as another employee may walk into the area, unaware of the hazard. As we discussed earlier, glass is as heavy as an equal volume of rock. The proper lifting of glass is essential to ensure that you don't strain yourself. Although different thicknesses of glass have different weights, there are certain guidelines that you should follow with all sizes of glass to ensure your safety. Each plant has a standard that defines when a light of glass will be team lifted by 2 employees working together. This technique is often used throughout our facilities. The proper method for team lifting glass safely is a skill all its own that you will learn on the job. Be sure to let the person you are lifting with know if you don't have much experience team lifting. They will walk you through the lift, step by step, to ensure the safety of you both. Before lifting a light, always make sure that your path of travel is clear. When placing glass onto any type of rack, only lift and carry 1 light at a time.
It could be that this song is about me, but really this song is about all of you. I'm fortunate to be surrounded by really successful people and driven people, and I think we're all driven by different things: wealth, success in our careers or relationships. And you know, the moral of the song is really lived in the chorus, which is, you know, at the end of the day, you are enough as you were, and you are enough as you are today, and you're free. So that's enough as she was.
One more time.
That's the ending.
Yeah.
But also you said driven twice, and let's switch one with motivated. So
Motivated,
like you said,
okay.
I was surrounded by driven people
That
who
are
driven
motivated.
but
Gotcha.
instead let's switch
Okay.
motivated in. So it's, yeah.
Okay.
But everyone has their different motivations or
All right,
what
cool.
is that.
Okay, so enough.
There are 3 ways to break out a piece of glass. Usually you will grab the edge of the glass on both sides of the score and gently lift while pulling the score apart. Lifting the score is important. You should never pull. The score will run across the entire piece of glass cleanly, separating it into 2 pieces. With a good score, this is both easy and accurate. For particularly large or thick pieces of glass, your cutting table is equipped with a breaker bar. Remember to keep your hands clear of moving machine parts at all times. Glass can also be broken out with a table snap by pulling a scored piece over the edge of a table and snapping it with a quick downward motion. If breaking out in this manner, keep parts of your body from under the glass in case it breaks during the snap. Some final tips on glass handling. Never score an overhanging piece of glass as it may break unexpectedly and fall. Only carry 1 light at a time. Never attempt to pick up or carry more than 1 light that has already been scored, as it may break suddenly along the score line while being carried. Always remember that awareness of glass on the floor and good housekeeping are your best defenses against a painful slip or trip injury. Our historical incident data shows that disposal of rejected glass and trim is one of our most hazardous processes. Even though the glass you are handling is headed for the dumpster, it doesn't eliminate the need to have your eyes and mind on task as you do this. Be aware of your surroundings as well as the positioning of your coworkers at all times. Some plants have a glass crusher attached to their table. If this equipment is available at your facility, use of this over discarding into a dumpster is preferred. When cutting glass to discard it, cut it into pieces that can be handled safely. Do not throw glass, scrap, or trim into the dumpster. Glass has a tendency to bounce back out of the dumpster and strike you and others standing in the area when disposed of with force. Most of the time, you do not need to apply force to the glass to dispose of it. When using a glass crusher, do not apply force to the end of the scrap being disposed. Doing so creates the potential for punctures through your PPE. Glass is fragile. Let gravity do the work and just drop it into the crusher or dumpster. If a piece of trim or scrap does not go down into a crusher, walk this to the cullet dumpster and place it inside. If a piece of waste glass is too large to carry easily, then you should cut it down into smaller pieces to discard it. If a piece of glass is too long to fit easily into the glass dumpster, then you should break the glass by tapping on the edge. Learning to do this without creating a mess is an acquired skill.
We are now going to move from our glass cutting areas to our insulated glass production lines. We will cover different tips and safe handling practices for each workstation on a line. In our company, we define a light as a single piece of glass. Here at the feed or load end, we are placing lights of glass onto a conveyor belt for assembly. When removing glass from a harp cart, make sure to leave enough space so you can successfully maneuver between the carts and the IG line. Grab the light at the upper front or top of the light, slowly pulling towards you. Try not to have the light rub against the harp cord, as this can create quality issues with the coating. Place other hand underneath light to hold securely. Always carry light with two hands. Keep glass square to your body. Hold glass away from your body to minimize scratching. Do not twist or turn your upper body alone. Turn your whole body to face the IG line and place glass down gently on the conveyor. Remember, only handle one light of glass at a time. There are times when you will be feeding the IG line by removing lights from skids instead of a harp rack. When this occurs, make sure to leave enough space so you can successfully maneuver between the skid and the IG line. Pick up the light with two hands. Never carry glass with one hand. Keep light square to your body. Do not twist. Turn or rotate your upper body alone. Hold glass away from your body to minimize scratching. Place the light down gently on the conveyor. Once you finish feeding off a skid, remember that all glass must be secured before it is moved away from the IG line to a different location.
Depending on the size of the light being fed onto the line, it may be necessary for two people to work together to remove the light from the harp cart. Follow the standards set at your facility for determining when a team lift is required. In many facilities, there is a notification that will appear on your workstation's computer screen. The first person grabs the edge of the light and slowly pulls it until it is almost to the end of the harp cart, pausing for the second person to get in place. The second person will grab the trailing edge of the light to lift it off the cart. Both individuals should be on the same side of the light. It is important that both individuals have their hands in the same position. There can be no undue tension placed on the glass. This may cause the light to break unexpectedly. Never allow the glass to come in contact with your body. Communication is key in all lifts requiring two people. Once both individuals are supporting the light, square yourselves to the IG line and place on conveyor gently. If the IG line you are loading has a drop-down conveyor, please have it in the lowered position to minimize the distance that the light has to be lifted. This is something that only should be attempted by trained glass handlers. It will take a good deal of timing and practice to become experienced at lifting as a team. Facility-specific rules and tools may be in place to help with this process, and they must always be followed.
Now we will move further down the process on the IG line to the assembly station. One of the most common ways that employees interact with glass at this location occurs when they are removing remakes from the line. Before you begin this process, remember to follow any machine-specific procedures before attempting to remove glass from the IG line. Make sure the remake rack is in proper position with the wheels chalked. The remake rack should be placed in an area that will provide sufficient space to remove all different sizes of lights. However, you also need to minimize the distance that has to be traveled. When removing smaller sized lights, the same rules apply to the loading of glass. Team lifting lights off the IG line at assembly can be difficult due to space constraints and create a hazard. Always follow facility-specific rules or tools that may aid you in this task. Once again, this is something that should only be attempted by trained glass handlers. It will take a good deal of timing and practice to become experienced at team lifting lights off the IG lines.
As we move down the IG line to the last workstation in the process, we are now looking at removing finished units from the sealer. A unit is the term that we use after two single lights of glass have been assembled onto a metal frame and filled with argon. Because a unit consists of two lights, the weight has doubled. Be aware of safety features that are in place, such as light curtains or sensors. Once a unit is resting on the pegs, it is ready to be removed from the IG line. Your facility may have cranes or glass manipulators to assist in this process. Follow all rules or procedures whenever using this equipment. You must be trained before using this equipment. If the units are being manually removed, ensure that a bungee rack or skid is placed in an area that is as close as possible, but at the same time provides enough space to maneuver safely. There are 3 ways to manually remove and pack from the IG line. As a single person lift, grabbing a unit with your dominant hand at the top center and opposite hand at the bottom as a guide, to pick and slot to remove from the sealer if packing onto a bungee. If packing onto a stock pallet, use both hands to grab the unit from the top. Lift the unit from the sealer, turn, and place onto the pallet. In a team lift, one person mirrors the hand positioning of the other. Watch as this is demonstrated for you. Always remember to have 2 hands on the unit at all times. Keep the unit away from your body. Keep glass square to your body at all times. Never twist, turn, or rotate your upper body alone while carrying a unit.
Remember, your plant's PPE rules must be followed. Good housekeeping will need to be in place to minimize slips, trips, and falls. Always follow all procedures regarding equipment. While working for Cardinal Glass, you will become an expert in handling of glass with both machines and by hand. While the purpose of this video is to introduce you to some of the basics of glass handling, the information here is far from all you need to know. During your training, frequently ask questions of your trainers, leaders, and supervisors. They have a wealth of experience in the efficient and safe handling of glass and will help you to become a Cardinal Glass handling expert.